everyone. Welcome to Wednesday, March 4th, 2026 regular council meeting. I will call our meeting to order at 9 a.m. and I'll ask everyone to stand for the singing of the national anthem. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda this morning?
Madam Mayor, administration has one addition this morning, and to change the order of the agenda, I'd like to add a closed session as item 6.1 for legal advice. It will be closed under Access to Information Act, section 29(1)(a).
29(1)(a), and we are just kind of shuffling everything down in the agenda, so this will now be 6.1, and then the RCMP will become 7?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and that's for legal. And then the RCMP are scheduled to come at which time?
Staff Sergeant Hoopmer will be here at 9:45 a.m.
Okay, 9:45. Perfect. Anything else?
That's it from administration.
Okay. Does council have anything? Is there a member of council that would like to approve the agenda for March 4th, 2026 regular meeting of council with the addition of 6.1 for a closed session for legal? Deputy Finn, thank you very much. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Is there a member of council, are there any corrections or amendments to the February 18th, 2026 regular meeting of council minutes? There is not. Is there a member of council that would like to approve the minutes for the February 18th, 2026 regular meeting of council? Councillor Boehm, thank you very much for that. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. So we have no proclamations, no public hearing. So we have the addition this morning of 6.1, and that is to move into closed. Is there a member of council that would like to make a motion to move us into closed this morning? Deputy Finn?
I move that council move into closed at 9:04 a.m. under ATIA 29(1)(a). Is that correct?
Is that, Ms. Stone, is that correct?
ATIA 29(1)(a).
1A. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. Welcome back, everybody. So we have officially moved out of closed, and we're moving along the agenda. Next up on the agenda this morning is our delegation. Staff Sergeant Ryan Hoopner is here for our Q3 report, and that is under agenda item now 7. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. All right, so the report I sent, I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to read it, but it was really long. So I'm not going to go through all of it, but this letter here is from our commanding officer, and it's like 4 pages, but it's kind of just an overview of the state of policing in the province of Alberta, so it's a good read. I will highlight, he talks on this page about our bail system and asks for avocation there, and he talks about an offender there who's from Parkland, Spruce Grove, and actually floats into our area a little bit too, so that's pretty close to home. So it's just a good example of how we feel our bail system's broken. And yeah, he just basically asks in there, like, that is a place where as communities, you can advocate on behalf of us to have change there. So if you have any other questions from that, I'll do my best to answer them, but it's yeah, it's a good read. I haven't seen that before, so that's interesting. That's the first time we've seen that, and I think it's good. I will bring up this. These are kind of our stats over the last, kind of gives us a snapshot over the last quarter for the last 4 years. The one thing I want to highlight there is we're seeing our property crime continue to drop, which is good. That's kind of been the goal. That was one of our targets here this year, was to push on property crime, and we continue to see it drop, as well as I'll highlight in the curfew failed to comply and breaches. That's up. That is a good thing for us because that is our officers doing proactive work. So when I see that being up, that's the members getting out there and doing their checks, catching them breaching. And so we look, it's kind of funny, often wants your crime stats down, but in that category we want it up because that's the proactive work.
Do you have a question, Councillor Wheeler?
Yep.
Yeah, a question on this page. I'm not sure, do you guys normally do questions as you
I take questions whenever.
I was curious about the assault too as well there. It seems to be up quite a bit, and it's a good thing if people are reporting it and we're catching it and dealing with it, or is it something that you're kind of seeing as sometimes the marking changes too, like how you code things?
Yeah, I don't know if that's coding so much as persons crime is interesting. I've seen it go up and down, and it's hard for us to kind of proactively deal with and influence person crime. Assaults are up, or like persons crimes are up. They're up in my county stats as well. They're actually up kind of across the board in stats right now, and so we don't really know why. Whether that's just a state of the where our population's at right now, or but I know when I was in county council yesterday, and Thorsby's person crimes are up. Yeah, it's one that I don't really have a good grasp of why. But it kind of flows up, and then we'll get a year that it's down. Drayton Valley is still like a very safe community. Our numbers overall aren't high, right? They're like, when we look at the percentages, sometimes kind of don't tell the true story because it can be only like 6 or 7 more, and it throws the
Yeah.
percentage way out.
And I would agree, and that's why I was asking, is just curious over the years if it's 27, 24, 28, 26, and then it's 38, like, it's not almost double, but it's almost double, it's a lot
Yeah.
more, and so.
Yeah, it is. And that's just for a quarter, that's not for the year, so that's just 3 months. So that, the one thing with persons crime is it can be a few individuals that will drive that up. Whether it's domestic, and doesn't necessarily always is domestic, it just can be conflict between a few individuals, and suddenly you'll see that spike.
And I think prior, like last year, in the last quarter, I think, weren't we at 47%? Like we went from, or something like that, didn't we go from 31% to 47%? And you could see the climb when it came to person crimes, like domestic violence and abuse and things like that. And even like threats and all
Yep.
of that were just escalating.
The criminal harassment and uttering threats has been escalating for probably, well, you can see it up there. That's a pattern, and a lot of that is online.
And it's bad really here.
Yeah. So I think that's, whether that's being reported a little bit more, but our online uttering threats and criminal harassment, it's too easy to say something behind a computer and not have to face that person. And that has been a pattern, especially over the last 3 years, that it's tracking up.
What can you guys do when someone does report that? Someone feels harassed, they report it to you. What kind of is the process then on your guys' side with that?
Well, the process for us, it's a criminal investigation. We have to determine whether it meets the definition of criminal harassment. There's a bit of a big step there between just being annoyed or criminal harassment. Like for example, if you are engaging in that conversation back and forth, that's not criminal harassment because you've now returned that conversation back. So we'll basically give some education on like, you need to block that number, shut it down. And if they continue to find ways around that, then it becomes criminal harassment. A lot of that is education. Our SRO does work in the schools with education on that type of the online bullying and that type of idea. But lots of it's education. But it's when it becomes that person taking steps to block that communication and the person then continues, then it becomes criminal.
And I think as a reminder of, even in our position is to be spreading the word more, is to be kind, like to stop the bullying, stop the abuse. It doesn't matter, like, and we're seeing it, that's the thing in adults, right? So what kind of example are these adults on Facebook or behind the screen presenting to our youth, to our
Yep,
community,
100%.
right? So we have a powerful voice. So it's, use it, right? For sure.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Councillor Brooks, do you have a question in regards here too?
Thanks. Yeah, I guess it's not that important. I was wondering if there's any, I know how it's going to sound, but are there any groups that are driving these particular crimes? Like, what I'm thinking is like high school students are online, making dumb comments online or something. Are you able to speak to that at all?
I would say there's groups, no. No, it's just kind of individual and then individual conflicts. Yeah. Like we will get some where it's a high school situation, but it's not like a specific group, and it's not something that group then carries and is a constant problem.
Okay, we can keep
Good. Any
going through, yep.
All right, I'll flip through that. This is just our quarterly policing report, so that kind of gives our stats for the last quarter. If you have any questions, we saw a big uptick in our property crime this last quarter and stolen vehicles, so we did less drug stuff and a lot more property crime stuff this last quarter, especially with our proactive stuff. And we're still fighting actually stolen vehicles right now. I'd say we're getting 3 to 4 a week going missing right now. So,
Wow.
we have a couple targets we're hoping to wrap up in the next couple weeks and trim that down. We picked up one individual yesterday who was wanted, and we managed to locate him out in Wetaskiwin County. But so we're working to curb that.
Deputy Finn, did you have a question?
I do. So just on the previous page, so
Yep.
false abandoned 911 calls, massive uptick in that. Is that kids? Is that, do we know, or is it's just 133% increase? Like that's,
Yeah, I think that can also be a little bit of our scoring. I don't know what we would have been scoring that as before, but that's probably a correction in scoring. Yeah, lots of those are kids though, and they're the phones that, like they're no longer connected to a network and they're just the play phones. They have games on them and then they can also dial 911. So if you have children.
So education to
Yeah.
even through our
If
SRO,
you have
right?
children and your old phone that has the games and connects to Wi-Fi, it can dial 911.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it can. 911 will always still work.
I think that happened to us once when our kids were little.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I do think that big jump I would say has to be scoring a little bit too, because people have been giving their old phones to kids for the last 5 years. That hasn't changed, so.
So with that being said, Ryan, so if it is a kid that's on the phone, do you still have to do that wellness check even though it's, yeah,
Yeah, we normally have to try and get, some of those are hard because it's hard to
Yeah.
get location on it.
yeah,
But if we have a location, we still either have to figure out whose house that is and get in touch with the parent that's
Yeah.
there, but those phones you can't call back
Yeah.
when it's just a kid. So we
Oh.
can't actually call it back. We have to go and try and find it.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
wow.
We do get a hint, like you can often hear like the natter, like the plane and the kids.
Yeah, and
on
just
so you're like, you don't take it
background
quite as
day-to-day
serious
noise,
as the
yeah.
yelling and screaming. The
Yeah.
ones. It's, you can normally know when it's just a kid.
Just a kid, yeah,
Yeah.
that did it.
All right, yeah. If you ever wonder which all the committees we sit on, you can have a read there. I'll stop here, just to give you where we're at with our resources. So currently, right now, we have 3 vacancies out of your 14, so we're running at 11. Our special leave there for your town has come back. So that's actually switched to a hard vacancy, though the one person has retired. But we had a member on pat leave, Matt Pat. She is back. She just started back with us 2 weeks ago. So she's back, but we are running at 3 vacancies. We do have a member coming from Grand Prairie, and she's just bought her house. She arrives here on the 16th of March. So she'll be filling one of those. And then we have a recruit coming from Depot at the end of March. So we'll only have 1 by the end of March. But then we have a member who's got their house for sale in Duwell right now as well. So it's always,
Always, yeah,
yeah, so
revolving.
that member could leave at any time. But we do have help coming here in March. It's nice to get people back and not have people leave. Snapshot about funding. So the way financing works is you get billed on what they predict is the FTE means full-time employment. It's like a full-time position. So the town has 14. This year, when we started, the RCP predicted 13, and that's what they started doing their building at. Now they bumped it down to 12 because I think at our last one we were at, you can see up there, 11.28 out of, and it was predicted to be 14. It just means you guys get some cost savings at the end of the year. You're gonna get money back from us running short. All right, I'll go through this quick. This is a snapshot of 2025. What I would highlight on this page is that policing and the call volume hasn't really changed in the last 5 years. It's actually really stable. So that means with where we're at for resources, it's about right. You're not going to see a huge ask from me for more police officers just because it's kind of like it's almost eerily stable. It's within about 100, 150 calls over 5 years. So, but yeah, it's basically pretty much staying the same. We're a little bit down from last year, but not anything of consequence.
Yeah, I mean, still, it's almost 10 files a day, right? Like that's an immense amount of administrative burden, right? So, do you feel you have the right mix there in terms of being able to support that side of things?
I do. I feel we do. Especially if we are full staffed, we have enough police officers here. You've heard it before, administrative work still is more tasking. So though in 2021 we have the same calls we do in 2025, we didn't have body cams in 2021. Body cams have added a huge administrative load to us. The members, the way it currently works, members need to vet their own body cams and be going through it after a call, and it's just added a huge administrative task to it. So that though we have the same call volume, we've added administrative functions to the police officers in the last 5 years. So, I mean, we've been good. We've added our shift assistants. I would like one more. But we have 2 right now that really have taken off. While they can't do the body cam, they take off other administrative tasks from members, and we have room to move there, and there's more administrative tasks we can take off the members. And every time we do that, then you just push them out into proactive policing more. And my cell has always been like, if there's tasks that a police officer doesn't have to do, police officers are much more expensive than admin support. And so we should be offloading those admin tasks because it's much cheaper for you as a municipality to fund admin support and have your police officers doing policing activities, not sitting behind a computer. So as far as a police officer complement, I think we're good. If we start to see that spike, then we're gonna have to look at whether we need to add, but currently right now we have enough time to do proactive work and we have enough time to call response. So this is, they give you all sorts of charts here. What I use this for is for scheduling. So when we talk about how many police officers we want working at a time or what times we're gonna do our on-call time, this is where I go to for that. You can still see that the majority of our calls, the red is the high time, is during the day. That is motor vehicle complaints and collision stuff are included in there. And so lots of that's reporting during the day, but also though crime might happen overnight, it gets reported in those daytime hours. So people find it and then report it during those days. So it is still night shifts. People sometimes think those are the busiest. The call volume is the highest during the day. But the fun stuff happens at night for a police officer. This is just a chart. I don't know why they throw that in there. Because these are the stats for you as a municipality. I actually don't know what the other is. And it's like
Just to make it not look so
36
blue.
calls over the year for other. And so I almost think that's an incorrect zoning. So I guess we didn't correctly zone it 36 times. But we get this stat on the province and then they break it down between counties. So it makes a lot more sense because like this many of our calls are in Brazeau County, this many in Parkland. For you and municipality, it's all municipality. So I want to highlight here, and you've heard me talk about this before, but Mental Health Act is still our highest driver of time here in the community. It is also my highest driver of time in the province side. You can see it's not our highest call volume, though it is third. So that's steadily increased, but it is our highest driver of time for your police officers. And that is probably the one place you can advocate as a municipality but we need change in legislation. Because the way the legislation is currently written, once we arrest or apprehend that individual, we have to transport them. We don't have a choice. There's no choice to have somebody else transport them for us. And it's a designated facility, which means normally it's Ponoka, Red Deer. So, and it just, at this point, the way the legislation is written, there's no getting around that. It's the officer will then transport to a designated facility.
So has the PAC team helped any of this? And I know that we've been trying to have our own, just feeling left out of the region, or maybe on the cusp of the region that was assigned. Do we feel support from that, or?
We feel support from that, but lots of their support there is post-care.
Post.
So unless they are in our area and they're only here, I mean, they have a pretty good area. They're here today, actually. But once every 2 weeks, maybe once a week, it depends on load, on the number of referrals we've done. But unless they're here and the crisis is happening, it's on us. And most of the time, they're not here when the crisis is happening. So they'll do
Yeah.
follow-up. So if we're there for a crisis, and if it's something that doesn't meet the apprehension level, but there still needs to be some mental health follow-up, then our members will do the referral and they'll do the follow-up with the crisis nurse. But if it's something that requires an apprehension, then it's us. And it can be, Pinoca's pretty good, they have it down, but we had an officer go to Red Deer on Monday night and he was hours waiting. Like we're talking 6 hours sitting at a hospital and not getting back to our community till 6 a.m. and leaving at.
Because you
know,
can't
that's the
leave.
entire shift.
Yeah,
And until that person is secured, they can't leave them. So
yeah,
it can be hours.
yeah.
So, I mean, my advocation is that legislation change to have somebody else transport, or we need more designated facilities closer. So, but the way it currently is we're stuck with it.
And so who else could transport? Like, who do you have to, what qualifications or what type of, like, who would be, if we're changing the legislation?
So if we changed it to even sheriffs
Okay.
or community peace officers, or I know like.
So somebody in that, in the
I
position
know
of
our
authority
ambulances are
that,
stretched super thin too.
Yeah.
But they do transport, I mean, but not when we've apprehended. If we apprehend, then it's on us. But I mean, the ambulances do also transport to these facilities. It's just if there's any sort of violence or threats of violence, we have to then
do it.
do it. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Okay,
I'm a believer that even with threats of violence, there's medications that can stabilize that person out and make them not violent, and then
Yeah.
somebody else could transport.
make it a peaceful ride.
It'd be a very peaceful ride. But at this point, we don't have that option. It's us.
Yeah,
The only other thing I'll point out is you can see mischief and disturb the peace. Those are often our kind of unsheltered individuals that gets that scoring. So that is a driver of time here for our community as well. Not quite as much as mental health, but you can see it does. Those files don't take a lot of work. They're just a real high number. So, yeah. For example, we have an individual who just became homeless about 10 days ago, and that individual is averaging 3 to 4 calls a day right now for us. So we're trying to connect them with supports, but they're refusing supports, and at this point, there's not a lot we can do, but we just get called of them being in buildings everywhere trying to stay warm. And they're
Yeah.
now getting trespassed from everywhere, but it's just a huge driver of time, and there's only so much you can do. We've had Vanessa with them, but if they're not accepting the supports that are offered, then there's limited you can do. So. Response time. Currently in Drayton Valley, we make it to 50% of our priority 1s and 2s in the first 5 to 10 minutes, so that's pretty good. It's above average. We're at a little over 75% of them within your 15-minute window. So that's pretty, we're getting places quick. That 25 plus would probably be our on-call time. If you're calling somebody out, then it's gonna take a little longer. That's really all I got. If you have any questions, but they got lots of charts. So, is that it? Is that all I had? Must be all I had. All right, the only other update I'll do, this is our year-end time. So I'm hosting the town halls here in March. I have one March 18th at CTC at 7. So you all are invited. That one is to focus on Drayton Valley residents. But then I'm also doing one the 19th out at Easyford Hall. And if an individual can't make one, they can make the other. The Easyford one will be a little more focused on the county residents. But the presentations will be similar, and if somebody can't make one work, they're invited to attend either or both, whichever they want. So we're going to do CTC at 7 o'clock on the 18th and Easy Ferd, 7 o'clock on the 19th. Last update I have is our building. We are pushing ahead through our property management with the reno for the inside. We've hit our 33% drawing. We're now looking to confirm the 66% drawing. And in conversations with Troy and Jocelyn, we look like we've come up with a portable that we can put on the outside. So our reno on the inside is based around the town putting the portable on the outside. So we're just going through some final stuff with the manufacturer for that. But that will kind of create the solution we need for the next 5 to 10 years, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, we're hoping to, like, cross my fingers if we could start doing that in the summer.
Oh,
Then
perfect.
it'd be huge. We'll actually have some change here. The members don't believe me. They tell me they're like, we've heard this before. It's not going to happen.
Okay,
That's what I got. I'll
wonderful.
take questions.
Okay, wonderful. I'll open up for questions. I'll go to Councillor Wheeler first.
It's just more in general, there's been a lot of chatter on our side about municipalities and the counties are starting to have to pay a bit more for policing costs and stuff. Have they talked to you guys at all about what that would actually look like for,
For counties,
yeah,
it's a huge cost.
well, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But are you gonna get 6 new members?
No.
What?
No, yeah, that's, the county has kind of shown me what they're gonna be billed over the next 5 years, and it's substantial. The police funding model is changing drastically for them. You guys are in a kind of a different contract, right? Because it's a municipal contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. I'm curious to see where that lands, because currently, right now, they'd end up paying more than you by the end.
Yeah, oh yeah, everyone will be paying their share, if you'd like to call it that, but I know originally when this was pitched years ago, it was that this should be, if anything, if they want to make it like that, in addition. So right now, the feds pay a bunch, the province pays a bunch, and municipalities pay some. Well, they're asking municipalities to pay more, but the provincial and the federal should still be paying their piece. So in essence, there should be an increase in resources for you guys.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm
In
curious if
essence.
you're.
Yeah,
he-
in
yes.
essence, yes.
I'm curious what you're hearing.
Our numbers aren't slated to change. They're just being billed at a higher percentage of the full rate currently. Yeah.
Formula doesn't add up.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Councillor Boehm?
Yeah, there was a news article that was released recently that the brother of the Tumbler Ridge shooter was located in Drayton Valley at the Opportunity Home. And then I believe he's gone now, was apprehended by Sylvan Lake RCMP. But just a question, does this happen often? Do we have a lot of people that are, I guess, offensive like that coming into our town? And can we be made aware, I guess?
So, yeah, the brother was due to come to the Opportunity Home. They actually never landed there. That's why they went to Warrant.
Okay.
But yes, they were slated to be at the Opportunity Home. We see lots of people come from out of town to the Opportunity Home, yeah. Yeah. We get notified through normally probation, because their release will then to be to there. We don't know they're coming before that.
Okay, do you have a question, Councillor Jeffrey?
Just pertaining to that, so do you play a specific role? Are you assigned a role if these people arrive?
Our role then is to check on them. So often they come on curfew or 24-hour. So they'll often be released to the Opportunity Home, kind of awaiting. It's basically their lawyers will advocate that they will be released to the Opportunity Home while awaiting trial. So instead of remaining in custody, they'll go to a treatment center. And with that then comes conditions. So they have to come to the Opportunity Home. They have to, often it's 24-hour, or they have to be accompanied by somebody from the Opportunity Home, or some of them are just on conditions like 2200 to 0700. And then that's when we get notified, because then our role is then to ensure they're complying by those conditions.
So when that happens in these instances, have these individuals, they've been charged with a crime, and then,
Yeah.
so, and there's no I guess, requirement that it's a locked facility or anything like that. It's kind of like a house arrest or on probation. That's what it
Yeah, and
is.
some of them come with ankle monitors, some don't. It kind of just depends on the crimes they've committed and what the court deems their threat or their risk of breaching those are. So some have ankle monitors, some don't.
And then, so what would be the process for individuals, say if they're at Opportunity Home and something happens, the Opportunity Home just calls the RCMP, and then the
Yep.
RCMP, like you said, you're made aware of the fire, or the files previously or prior, and then,
Yeah, so if they breach, then the Opportunity Home calls us and notifies us of the breach, or often if it's that type of breach, it actually goes to probation for that charge to be laid, and then the warrant, we track them down on the warrant. But probation will lay the charge often if it's a breach that, if we check them and they're not there, then it's ours,
Yeah.
because that's our evidence. But if it's Opportunity Home, they'll go to probation, and then the charge gets laid through probation.
okay, gotcha. And then, do you have a question, Councillor Brooks? Yeah, it's not quite on the subject. Okay, any other questions around this subject? No, okay, go ahead, Councillor Brooks.
Okay, thank you. I was just within the report, it had mentioned RCMP reservists, which is something I found out about like 2 weeks ago. And I was wondering if you could speak to that, because my only experience with any type of government reservists is the armed forces, and so they, they'll train members, and then they're part-time soldiers. And so it's just based on what the report had said, these are retired RCMP and not part-time RCMP. And so if there was such a thing as a part-time RCMP reservist sort of thing, I was just thinking those guys would be I'd have those guys transporting to facility, right? Like I'd be sending, like all those kind of in-between stuff that keeps you guys here. That's what I'd be doing, but maybe you could speak to it a little bit.
Yeah, so our reservist program is for retired RCMP, and then they can kind of choose when they work. So retired people can retire, and then when they want their 2 months off in the winter, they can be off in the winter, and then but it's not, there's a process to get a reservist, and it's not like, hey, I need one for a transport right now. It's, I need coverage for the next 2 weeks, and then they will send that officer to you for that 2 weeks. They just backfill vacancies. So, yeah, they don't just come immediately. We used to have a couple, like Staff Sergeant Matthews, who retired, did the reservist program for a bit, and her husband did the reservist program for years. But lots of that were just deployments out to detachments that needed assistance, and then they would come in backfill. They work as a regular member. They're kitted the same as us. It doesn't matter what rank you retire at. You come back as a constable, and you're billed at the constable rate. But instead of backfilling those shifts with overtime and having to pay double time for police officers, you get a straight time member for 2 weeks. So they do lots of north work too, backfilling up in our northern communities where the staffing shortages are high. They'll drop in there and do a month and then come out.
It's going to sound off topic. So within the armed forces, with those, with the reservists, the part-time soldiers, one of the advantages is that they get to choose where they go, right? They go, their armory is going to be wherever they live, right? And there's no obligation for them to go anywhere else. So I'm wondering if there might be a ridiculous thing to say, but I'm wondering if there might be some opportunity to have a similar type of program within the RCMP. I know that's not really, we're not federal RCMP or provincial RCMP, but I'm just kind of wondering if maybe there's some kind of advocacy we can go down, or if that's even a route we want to go.
And the reservists are able to choose, because they're not a full-time employee. If they don't want to go somewhere, there's no requirement for them to go. So that is the advantage of it, if they pick their deployments.
Yeah, I understand that, but like there's, I guess Canada-wide, there's several, like tens of thousands of Army reservists, but there's, 33 in the province of Alberta RCMP reservists. And so if there's like I was wondering if there's some
program that you could start?
way that we could expand the program.
Yeah,
right?
and that's fair. I mean, that's, you're getting into the weeds of how to
Yeah.
retain senior
Yeah.
members or bring them back.
Talking
and
the wrong guy.
Yeah,
sometimes when people have policed for 25, 30 years, they're just done and they move on. Lots of our individuals move on to other careers. They don't want to put the uniform on anymore, so.
So maybe this
served
is-
long enough and they want
served long
to
enough
be the
and they-
greeter at Walmart or something.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to greet at Walmart.
So maybe this is a conversation we can have with the RCMP when we meet with them next, the provincial guys, but.
Yeah,
um,
could be a question for K Division. And with that, I know that maybe, I think we talked about this council maybe having a tour of,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll follow up. I actually reached out.
Yeah, it's
to
not
them,
urgent, but just,
they're-
yeah, just,
Yeah, they're having the individual who gave us the tour last time is
Yeah.
actually retired, so they're going through that transition. But yeah, I'll reach back out to actually, because I didn't hear back from
Yeah.
Ryan who gave us the tour, but he is leaving us in like a week, so.
oh, okay, yeah. No, it's not
He's
urgent,
been
just, but
busy
yeah.
doing other things, but
So where's he going?
he is going to work like airport security. So
Oh,
he's
wow.
got a good gig. Yeah.
Okay, wow, well, good for him.
Yeah,
Good
he's-
for him.
Not even just, he's kind of, in charge of, well, not in charge, but doing some airport security stuff with the Edmonton International Airport, but it connects to all the sister airports. He'll
Wow.
be traveling around the
So it'll
world.
be a very exciting job.
Yeah, he's excited. Yeah.
Wow. And then I think it was a couple weeks ago or a week ago, I seen Sergeant Ferry. I don't go on Facebook a lot, but I seen him, there was a picture of him under the, can you tell us a little bit what,
He rescued the puppy.
oh, he rescued a puppy and then he became famous for it.
Yes, he was
So-
trending.
He was trending. Well, because it
Did you see
wasn't.
some of the comments?
It wasn't under the
There's some
local
ladies that like
RCMP,
Sergeant
it
Ferry.
was, it was under the province, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was under
Yeah.
the province RCMP and there was quite a few, yeah, likes and.
What's fun about that is Sergeant Ferry is not an online presence at all.
No.
He has no Facebook, so he had no idea. So I was sending screenshots, and I'm like, "You're trending right now."
Oh, well, I know, I seen it, and then I had to go back, and I was like, I have to ask you about this. What happened? So where
Yeah.
did he save the puppy, or how did it?
Well, it was some individuals from town went and looked to. I don't know. It depends which side of the story you get. There's the side of the story from the
From the
individuals in
puppy
town
and
who
the
said they
side
didn't
from-
steal it. The other side said they did steal it. Either way, they ended up with a puppy from a shelter, and the shelter felt like the correct process wasn't gone through, and they had stolen it. I think the correct process just wasn't completed, but that's neither here nor there. We tracked the puppy down here in Drayton Valley and
Oh, okay.
returned it, so.
Wow, yeah, that was a good story, yeah. So
yeah,
he's
and-
a little bit famous now.
Yeah, our media's looking for a photo, and the only photo we had was one of the ladies up front had taken the photo of him in the front office, so I go, this is all we got.
Oh.
Yeah,
Tell
he
him we-
definitely got some,
He got some, yeah, he got a lot.
he got a lot of PR from that,
A
yeah.
lot of PR. Well, yeah, well, tell him good job and keep doing it. And if there's no further questions, thank you very much for coming this morning. Keep up the great work that you're doing. We always appreciate it, what you're doing for our community and area. And just thank you for coming in this morning.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, take care. So before we jump into decision items, does anybody need a break or are we good to go? Admin? We're good? Okay. We'll continue on. So we have no business arising from our delegation this morning, besides to end it on a feel-good story about the puppy and staff, or Sergeant Ferry. If you didn't see it, I would encourage you to look it up. And then we'll jump into our decision items this morning. First up is it 8.1 still? Or is it 9? 9.1. So 9.1, this is Ms. Stone, and this is for the appointment of deputy mayor this morning.
Thank you, Mayor Dodds. As per the MGA, council must appoint a deputy mayor, and as per council procedural bylaw 2026-01B, the deputy mayor is held on a rotating basis for a term of 4 years and is determined by the mayor. Councillor Farrell Wheeler has been selected by the mayor to serve as deputy mayor for the town of Drayton Valley from March 4th to July 1st, 2026. I'd be looking for a resolution of council to make it so.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Are there any questions for administration? Any challengers to Councillor Wheeler? Anybody else want to take? Would you like to make the motion, Deputy Finn, as on the way out?
I move that council confirm Councillor Farrell Wheeler to serve as deputy mayor from March 4th, 2026 to July 1st, 2026.
Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? My only comment would be to Deputy Mayor Ryan Finn. Thank you very much for assuming this position for the first quarter, I guess, of the new council. You've done a fantastic job, and I'd like to say now go on a wonderful vacation. Go enjoy some time off, maybe in the sun or something. And then I welcome Councillor Farrell Wheeler to serve for the next 4 months. And then for any other councillors who are interested going forward, just please let me know on how that, excuse me, rotation will work. So with that being said, there is a motion that confirms Councillor Wheeler to serve as Deputy Mayor from March 4th, 2026 to July 1st, 2026. No further comment, question, debate. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Still good? Okay, wonderful. Moving along, next up is 9.2. This is Community History Video Partnership, and Ms. Jennifer Stone.
Thank you very much. Administration received a request from the creator and host of Canadian History EHX, Craig Baird, offering the town of Drayton Valley the opportunity to partner with him in the creation of a feature video about the history and heritage of Drayton Valley. This came with a price tag of $500, so I would be looking for a motion from council to engage with him to move on to next steps and to confirm the $500. And I would be happy to take any further questions. The request from Mr. Baird is also attached to the agenda if anybody has any questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any questions for administration? Deputy Finn?
So just comment on this. So I did see this agenda, and I did talk to an organization in town, and they are willing to cover the, as it is a marketing expense, they're willing to cover the $500, so it wouldn't be a town expense.
Okay, perfect. So does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Clark.
So I presume nobody has an issue with, I'm assuming it's TVHJ, that I go with, I'll make the motion that council accepts this report as information.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, a debate on the motion? Councillor Brooks?
Yeah, thank you. By receiving for information, I understand that different organizations would be paying for it, but I think it requires some administrative support. So maybe administration could speak to that, but I think I read about it here.
There's still additional ask?
No, it was just, where do we see? I swear I saw it in here.
So are you saying, so it does say that administration is seeking council direction to approve the funding and engage with Mr. Baird on this project for Drayton Valley? Is there any additional, I guess, ask from Mr. Baird that the town of Drayton Valley be included in some
So
different way?
if the town was to engage, we would work with him
There
to
it is.
connect him with people in the community or within our organization to help put the video together. If this is being handled by another agency, it would be me, but I would be more than happy to provide any support that they may need to do that as well, but it sounds like this would be handled by another local agency, which I'm fine with
Yeah, it was
as well.
just page 83 under next steps. Should council approve the request, communications will work with Mr. Baird on next steps, which include approval of Mr. Baird's plan and areas to focus and begin making the necessary introductions. So I'm just wondering if we receive for information, does that give administration direction to work with this individual, whether we have money or not?
Yeah,
Do you want to make a friendly amendment?
Yeah.
I guess, I don't really know
Yeah.
how I'd change it, but
maybe just, and for administration to begin making the necessary introductions, or Ms. Stone,
Yeah.
do you have a suggestion here maybe?
I would have a suggestion. If they're going to engage with the other agency, I would provide any necessary support to them to make that happen, if that makes sense.
I guess, and then, yeah, just if there's any other requirements from the town.
Right, like receiving as information means that we wouldn't do anything. However, if the agency wanted support, I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to make a friendly amendment still? Okay, Deputy Finn?
So the other organization is just simply providing the funding for it, so it would still be administration to foresee it.
Okay, I understand, yes. So then we would be friendly amendment that we would still
Oh, yeah, you
engage
can
with
amend
them.
it too. Counselor Clark, would you like to amend? Yeah, you can.
So I think, okay, so
Let's look
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to the motion that council accept this as information, and communications will work with Mr. Baird on next steps, which include approval of the plan and areas of focus, and begin making the necessary introductions.
I will
Okay.
agree to that friendly amendment.
Thank you very much for that. So we're just going to take a minute, and could you maybe repeat, help there? And that was a lot. Yeah, we'll just take a minute. That was a long friendly amendment. Sorry? Okay. Good? Okay, perfect. So there was a friendly amendment by Deputy Finn to Councillor Clark. Councillor Clark has accepted the friendly amendment. So any comment, question, debate on the motion that's now on the floor? Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you. I think it's great, and I like that in the plan, it said that the video will still come forward for approval before it's released, because if we're putting our name behind it, I want to make sure that someone from our team is ultimately reviewing it, so,
Yes.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's good that admin is being tasked to manage the project.
Yeah, I think that's great, and Ms. Stone will communicate and do that, and then hopefully we'll learn a little bit more and get to see this in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So any further comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Excuse me. So next up, 9.3, which is the financial reserve policy, and this is Miss Elvira. You got to help me out here. Do it. Do it. Good morning, welcome. It caught me off guard.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
So after our discussions a few weeks ago, I took the reserve policy back and made a few changes. So administration presented a draft policy at the February 4th meeting, and during that meeting, council and administration discussed a few specifics that would make the policy stronger. Since that time, administration has revised a policy to reflect council's commitments and to ensure alignment with current legislative requirements, financial best practices, and the operational needs of the organization. The existing reserve account policy no longer adequately supports the organization's financial planning framework or current reserve structure. The proposed policy provides clear direction respecting establishment and purpose of reserves, funding sources, and how to treat operating surpluses. So on my paper, have highlighted the changes. I'll only go over the changes, and then I'll answer any questions at that time the council may have. So I changed under section 2, general statements, in paragraph B, I just made it a little bit stronger and aligned it better with requirements or provincial best practices, just to show that this is not just, asset management is not just something fun that we're doing, because it is something that the federal and provincial governments are either requiring or strongly recommending, depending on what province you're in. So the town is committed to using asset management principles to guide long-term financial planning and the sustainable funding of its capital infrastructure. The town's goal is to determine regular contributions to financial reserves based on anticipated asset deterioration, service levels, and the replacement needs of tangible capital assets. By aligning reserve funding with asset management planning, the town ensures that resources are available to maintain and replace assets over their useful lives, reducing the risk of sudden infrastructure failures, unplanned borrowing, or service disruptions. And then it goes on to, I'm not going to read it all, it goes on to just say that asset management is recognized and recommended as a best practice for both the government of Alberta and Canada. And it also refers to the asset management handbook, as it aligns with national principles and promotes integrated planning, evidence decision-making, and intergenerational equity. So then I went on, everything else is the same until we get to the definitions. I added I added operating surplus, because we are going to talk a little bit about operating surpluses in this policy now, as opposed to having two policies, a reserve policy and an operating surplus policy. We're combining them to one to make this one stronger and to eliminate the need for two, as they strongly link together anyways. So as referenced in municipal government, in the finances of a municipal government, as well as this policy, it refers to the excess of the surplus as budgeted. So if we budget for $2 million surplus, what we're speaking about is anything beyond that. When everything is wrapped up in a given financial year, if we have surpluses beyond the amount that we budgeted, that's what we're talking about here. And then I added under administrative responsibilities the last section, H, and it says ensure that withdrawals from reserves align with the purpose of the reserve and are approved either through annual budget process or by council motion. So I did look at a few municipal reserve policies that had under the reserve, they had the purpose of the reserve, contribution, and withdrawal rules. But for the most part, the withdrawal rules kind of are defined in the purpose of the reserve. So if the purpose says this is for landfill cell, whatever, replacement, then that's when we would take out of it. And so I just was trying to find a way to do it that it didn't clog up the whole policy. So I went back and forth to see if I should do it. So I figured this is a way to just say like that it's an administrative responsibility to ensure that the withdrawals line up with the purpose and that it is done via budgeting or by special motion of council or a motion of council. And then number 6, this is the new section that I added, and this is the allocation for operating surpluses. And so as Mayor Dodds and Councillor Clark would remember, last year in 2024 ended in a surplus, an operating surplus. And so I brought it back to council, and then they decided how to split the surpluses, or how to spend it essentially, or where to put it, not spend it necessarily, but where to save it under. And so this eliminates that need. And aside from, or if there is no motion, this would make sure that council has an idea of where those surpluses are going, and it eliminates the need for having that discussion every single time. And it's also a way to, it's kind of like if you have a personal bank account and you make a little bit more, instead of spending it, you put them into certain savings, and that compounds over time. So this is, we can amend these. It doesn't need to stay the same for the passing of this policy. I'm open to recommendations, or also knowing that this policy will be coming back after service level reviews and likely before budget begins anyway, so we could also change it at that time. But this is the recommendation from the research I've done and knowing the organization's financial needs. So 30% of the operating surpluses will be going into the tax rate stabilization reserve. So we've talked about it a few times. It is now in this policy a little bit later on as listed under the reserves. 30% going to the general capital reserve. So right now the general capital reserves receives, I believe it's 1.25% of tax revenues as directed by a previous council motion when that reserve was opened. So this would go into that reserve as well, and it would just be nothing specific, but restricted for capital projects, internally restricted for capital projects as council decides upon budgeting. 10%, go ahead.
Oh, do you have a question, Councillor Clark?
Yeah, so something that comes to mind here, so let's say we have $800,000 in our operating budget for snow removal. And let's say we have a, brown year, there's no snow. You have 800,000 remaining in there. So you're saying that operating surplus would somehow be split up, or is that kind of a different?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So there are several instances in which that surplus automatically goes into we have a council motion that directs it. Maybe I should speak to that actually in this policy. But the snow surplus goes into snow and ice. And it does state that under the snow and ice reserve. So no, this would be after that, taking that out. Yeah, all unique or specific situations excluded. Like if affordable housing has a surplus, for example, that goes into the affordable housing reserve. It's really just those two. Cemetery plots is not even the reserve. It's not a surplus. It's just the amount we collect for perpetual care. I think those are the only situations in which a surplus goes specifically into reserves. So 2 exceptions. 10% would be going to the fire capital reserve, just knowing that those pieces of equipment are expensive, and sometimes it can be hard to keep up with how quickly those actually need to be replaced. And also the other, this year was the first year where we put deployment revenues into the fire reserve, which is really great. I think we put just about, I want to say we put 75 grand or something like that into the fire reserve from deployment revenues. That's a really great way for the fire department to sort of raise funds towards their replacement of equipment. And then 30% would be retained in the unrestricted surplus to offset potential deficits in future years. So that's important, because what ends up happening if there's nothing in that account, if we end up in a year in a deficit, then council is required to tax for that deficit in that following year. And so that is very important that we don't get put in that situation. I mean, of course, now we have a tax stabilization reserve, or we will have one, so that will help with that as well. But to me, those are still two separate things. Tax stabilization reserve, the idea will be something unexpected happens or something unique that we just couldn't have predicted, and it will make sure that council doesn't have to increase taxes significantly one year. And it just makes sure that there's consistency. I also wanted to back up and go on to the tax stabilization reserve. So I do have there that it will be, money will be going into that up to a balance of 500,000. I don't recommend that too much more money than that is carried. We could change that to maybe like as 1% of tax revenue or something to that. Like right now I have it at 500,000, and then, so because of that, the 30-30, 10-30 might not add up to 100%, because it could be less than 30 and it could have been maxed out. So then that last clause says that any surplus remaining shall be carried forward to subsequent year's budget in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Government Act. So that would give council some more money to play with the next budget year. Yeah, any questions regarding the operating surpluses specifically?
No.
And then, so then the last item is under the standing restricted reserve accounts in that last section Q. So we have the tax rate stabilization reserve. So the purpose of this reserve is to set aside funds to stabilize fluctuations in municipal tax revenue and annual operating results. Funds are intended to offset unexpected revenue shortfalls, manage one-time or unforeseen expenditures, and promote predictable and sustainable tax rates over time. Contributions to this reserve shall equal I noticed a mistake. I'll make that change
Equal up
before
to?
it goes 30%.
Or 30%.
As described earlier in this policy, council may also choose to contribute additional amounts to this reserve. The balance of this reserve shall not exceed $500,000. And then one more, sorry, I said that was the last change, but there's actually Schedule A, and it just lays out all the reserves in a way that's very easily to look at on one page, and it says whether it's operating capital, restricted or unrestricted, and then if it's restricted, it says whether it's externally or internally restricted. So basically, internally restricted is council sets up a reserve for fire. That means that reserve is for fire, and it can be changed via council decision. Externally restricted is airspace. We're required, any ton of waste we bring in, we're required to put money aside. So those are essentially, if it's externally restricted, is very specific situations in which that happens, but I listed those there, so to be more clear. So I will make sure to make that change, but if that's all, then I would ask for council to accept this policy.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Any additional questions? Councillor Brooks?
Thank you. Yeah, so just in Schedule A.
Yep.
We have the sewer and the water reserved. Is the underground infrastructure included in that? Or is that just the treatment facility?
Yes, no, it's everything,
Yes.
everything as it relates to utilities, paid utilities, yeah. So water and sewer. So sewer, of course, would be, yeah, sorry, short answer is yes, it's everything related to, it's supposed to be anyways. It doesn't have very much money in it right now, and that's kind of why I want to bring this back in the post service level review, just to speak about council's kind of appetite to make stronger commitments to these reserves as and wean off of the surpluses currently that are offsetting tax.
Well, I'll just say personally, my appetite, I'm quite ravenous.
Not,
I do not want this stuff to fall apart.
yeah, for sure.
Only other question was on section 2 policy. Under C, the town's approach is informed by provincial guidance, aligns with national principles that promote integrated planning, evidence-based decision-making, and intergenerational equity. And so my understanding of equity is not what I want here, because you see, my grandfather had his own well and his own septic system, and to me, things should be getting better, right?
Right.
We should always be improving. So unless I misunderstand intergenerational equity,
Yeah,
I just feel like that's not where my values are right here, but maybe it's the rest of councils, I don't know.
well, let me explain what it means as it relates to this policy. When it comes to municipal government, internet generational equity speaks to the fact that the person using the service pays for the service. So if we don't carefully manage right now today, that means that our children will be paying off the services that we're enjoying right now, or vice versa, where if we put too much into reserves now, it means that all the people that live here now, we're like squirreling all it away, and then our children get to use that later, and we don't get to see the benefits of the taxes that we're paying for right now. So that's what intergenerational equity means in this case.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
so it means balancing reserves and debt in a responsible way.
Okay, very good.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's no further questions, there is a recommendation from administration this morning. So the recommendation is that council approve the financial reserve. If that is the motion that a councillor is going to make, do we need to include with the correction to 7G to 30%?
Sure, that'd be great, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So is there a member of council that would like to make a motion with the correction to 7G? That's correct, right? 7G to 30%? Councillor Bowen, or I'm sorry, yes, 7Q. I just can't read my own writing. Didn't put the loop that way.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I move that council approve the financial reserves policy C0226 as presented, and that the existing reserve account policy TF0197 be rescinded effective of the date of adoption of the new policy with an amendment to 7Q up to 30%.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I will call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And we will take a
Thank you.
10-minute break, and then we will reconvene and we'll jump into council reports. Yep, okay, good. Are you good, Aaron? Okay, perfect. We will reconvene our meeting at 10:59 a.m. And we are done our decision items for this morning. We'll jump into council reports. First up is Councillor Brooks. Yes?
Very good. So I was unable to go to the EPAC meeting, but our rec board meeting, the 10-year regional recreational and culture facilities master plan is in progress. I hesitate to say what the expected completion date is, but it's expected to be in the second quarter. We discussed the code generator that we could attach to some of our buildings. We had, there's both councils or both parties are going to make a recommendation to their councils. And our next meeting is on March 30th at the Team Auction Center. And that's it.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your report. Next up, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you. We had a great strategic planning session with council and admin. I think everyone is feeling really good about the direction we kind of want to head with the town in the next year or two. And I'm excited to see some plans move forward as we roll out. We had the Legacy Hall of Fame. It was neat for our community to see the people that were really honored there. And it was, yeah, it was great for the 3 or 4 gentlemen, I should say. But I think it was just good for the community. We used to have a lot more events like that, and after COVID, things just kind of quieted down. But to see them picking back up, the community was super engaged behind it, which was really nice to see. And then we had Sustainability Committee. And so we're still working through the same topic stuff as last time. But we did hear a presentation on the EPR, which is Extended Producer Responsibility, and that it's changing come October and what we can recycle. It's going to change what can go into our blue bags. They basically standardized the program across the province, which is awesome, so that it will be very consistent and easy for people to know. They're also expanding what they can actually take in the program. So there'll be more things able to go in the blue bag. So yeah, we're gonna look to get some stuff kind of drafted and put together so we can be ready for the fall and more of an announcement and communication to the public. We did want to have admin look at some of the collection. I know our contract is coming up, but they were talking about in their presentation, collection fees and how that's covered. And so they can help us kind of with maybe negotiating contract stuff because they're doing it across the whole province. So it might be an option to get some maybe better pricing. And then we talked about Earth Day in April, and there's a couple organizations like EPBR that are doing some programs, and last year, or for the last few years, the town has partnered with them. They've done their rain barrels, and then we've done some kind of either seed packets or extra pieces to go along with it. And so we're going to make a set plan at our March meeting coming up here, but I would potentially put out there might be a budget request. I don't know, might be only $500 or $1,000, depending on what we decide to go with, but I can't remember specifically what we allotted for in the budget. If sustainability actually had its own line item, we might need to just check. It might fit in there just fine, but if it doesn't, then we'll bring this forward, which is it for sustainability. And then my last piece is I did want to ask potentially for what our promotional kind of budget's looking like for this year, to come forward at a future meeting. It could just be a GMP, but yeah, what promotional stuff we have on the docket for purchasing any water bottles to give out for when we have requests from the community or stuff like that. Yeah, that's it for me.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Next up is Councillor Jeffrey.
Morning. Okay, well, much of what I would say would be very similar to what Councillor Wheeler said. In addition, I had the opportunity to attend the Mental Health Symposium and provide greetings there. It was a very good day, actually. I was very pleased to see that there were 130 participants throughout the day. And again, very, very well attended and very productive. Also had 2 meetings last week. One was with the Health Foundation, and just a couple pieces of news from there. The palliative care project is complete, and the really good news there is that they actually have surplus funds sitting from that fund. Or surplus dollars, significant, like over 200,000. So they will be looking at transferring, obviously, those dollars to another project. One project that's still requiring funding from the foundation is the Sim Lab, so I would expect that that will probably be where it goes, but the good news is that they do have some funding to work with. And also attended the Brazeau Housing Group, and the good news there, I think I said it before, the elevators are working, and their next project is that they are excited that 2 boilers are being replaced in that facility, and a fire door upgrade is also in the process. And typically, every time we meet, they talk about a vacancy report, and there are definitely is a waiting list that proceeds there. I also had the opportunity to attend the figure skating carnival, and it was very, very well worth my time to be there. It was exciting to see those little ones, and the little guy that laid down on the ice and refused to move was the best part. So yeah, that's basically it.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Counselor Clark?
I got a couple things. Yeah, off-site strategic planning, like as previously mentioned, Hall of Fame Legends Night, as previously mentioned, Joint Rec Board, as previously mentioned as well. One thing I'd like to highlight out of the Joint Rec Board was so they're having info session on March 6th, which is this Friday. So they're going to have a session at Easyford, Lyndale, and in Drayton Valley. And I think the one in Drayton's from 4 to 5 for the public to come to and chat about recreation and what that might look like to them from 4 to 5. So I don't know exactly where that's at, but it is this Friday. And then the last thing, just around process here. So when we talked about the cogeneration aspect, like Councillor Brooks talked about, what the conversation revolved around was instead of just one provider, let's look at a couple instead of just one, which I think is some due diligence that is needed. So the recommendation was, and I don't know if this comes from administration to their respective councils or if it comes from a councillor to the council. So do you know?
So that can be something that could come to economic development, so as a delegation? Like for additional ones, you're saying?
Well, no, I think the discussion was, let's take this back to our respective councils and say, do we want more, to look at more, or are we just okay with this one and exploring that? So I think that, like I said, the conversation was just, let's take it back to our respective councils and say, let's look at more.
Yeah, I think let's add it to our economic development. We're going to do, I believe, a little bit of a workshop. I know that when we did our strategic planning, that we talked a lot about economic development. So I believe that Troy has something in the works for us, so we could add that as a discussion piece in that.
There we go, perfect. Okay, other than that, that's all I have.
Perfect, thank you very much for that. Councillor Bowen, go ahead, Councillor Wheeler.
From the admin side, though, with the RFP process, I would still expect that we, even if we're interested in a certain party, we'd still go through our normal RFP process. So we should be able to solicit other bids naturally that way too. Yeah, for sure.
To shed a little more light on that, the conversation from the county was just more around, do we need to, right? So I think.
We'll have that conversation as well.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, so for me, very similar to what just about everybody else had done. We did our strategic planning. Very exciting to see that we're kind of all on the same page now. We're got some goals that we're going to head forward. So hopefully administration can keep us on track. I know we're probably, we're scatterbrained chickens, but hopefully they'll keep us there. Attended the Hall of Fame as well on February 20th. That was a great event. Ton of people from all over town were there, and it was really exciting to see the people that did get nominated put up on the wall. And yeah, it's really cool to see people being honored in our town. I think it's very important, and important for us to know kind of who has built this town and been a part of this town. Then on the 21st, I also attended the Mental Health Symposium alongside Pat. Very well attended event. It was a little bit quieter in the morning. I was kind of shocked. I thought there was going to be more people when I first got there, but a lot of people did come up probably by about that 10, 11 o'clock. It filled up pretty quick. So yeah, it was good to go to a few different breakout sessions, one of them being a men's shed actually that someone in town is running, which is just a place for men to come to, build some stuff, work on, have some conversations with other men. So that was kind of interesting to hear about. And then, yeah, outside of that, on the 26th, I had a DV library board meeting, which was a good thing. We talked a little bit about the pods that are coming in and kind of hopefully when they're going to happen. We're looking sometime April-ish, so we'll kind of see what that looks like. We'll probably have to shut down the library for a little bit of time while that's going on. But yeah, looking forward to those being put in the library. And that's pretty much what I got.
Perfect, thank you for your report. Deputy Finn.
Yeah, so again, attended strategic planning session. It was great to connect with councillors and mayors from Stony Plain and Spruce Grove. On the 21st, I attended the Black History and African Heritage Celebration with the Multicultural Association. They had a great presentation by a local, and it was a fantastic event. And yeah, everything else it's been good.
Wonderful, thank you for that. For myself, again, strategic planning that we all attended. Thank you to council for your vision and going through the process. I think it was a wonderful facilitation. Gordon did a wonderful job, I think, bringing us together. And as Councillor Bowman mentioned, we all were pretty aligned, and we were all, for being 7 individuals, we all, it's funny how we all kind of ended up on the same page and had the same or similar priorities and goals coming into this. So that was really nice. And thank you to administration for being there, for helping us, look at capacity, and for your insight and your ideas as well. We did some team building, which was really wonderful. So thank you for that. Always nice to see. Of course, attended the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to Brian, Alex, and Gary, 3 amazing pillars in our community. And I think it's been said over and over again that these gentlemen have set the bar quite high for generations to come. So hopefully the next upcoming individuals in our community will be able to follow in their steps and continue the good work that they've done to build our community. So a big thank you to all of them. I attended the keynote speaker at the Mental Health Symposium along with some other counselors. It was really nice. He did a fantastic job, and it was nice to see so many individuals attend that, as well as so many men. I know that that's what they talk about a lot, is that there's a bit of a more stigma around men when it comes to mental health. So it was nice to see that it was attended by quite a few men, and it was a fantastic a day and lots of great sessions and everything like that. So thank you to everyone that was part of putting that on, involved in that. I attended our first, I guess it would have been official golf kickoff meeting with Councillor Boehm and the county there. We're planning our 2nd annual golf charity tournament this summer. July 18th, I believe, is the date that we have picked. And we did vote between the county councillors and Brandon and myself on what those 3 charities would be. So this year we have chosen All Our Daughters, Cause for Critters, and EPAC, the EPAC expansion. That's what it was. I know I wrote it down. If it's not wrote down, I'm looking at Brandon. You were giving me a lot of.
I was confused there too. We had a few different options, and I'm like, oh, which one did we pick?
Which ones did we pick? Yeah. So those are the 3 recipients that we're deciding to raise funds for. So if they haven't heard already, we look forward to working with you, and you're going to help us drive this forward. So that's going to be exciting. So anyone wanting to attend, sponsor, and get involved, you can reach out to, I guess, one of us right now until we figure out who will be that contact list. We have some members at large that are helping on the town side create a task list. So that'll be the next steps there. I attended also All Our Daughters last night. They did an open house and a walkthrough, and that was very well attended. It's great to see all the support in the community and just how far they've come, and I wish them the most of success. I know that it takes a little bit now to get the accreditation and the funding, and they're working closely with the minister, and there's a consultant to do that. And, they already have women that are waiting, to join the program. They do have 10 beds. The facility looks fantastic. So if you have an opportunity to stop by or get involved or, donate and things like that, there's lots of information out there. So, looking forward to that addition into our community. And that wraps up my council report this morning. But before I end, I just want to say a huge thank you to Miss Elvira. I was very mixed emotions this morning, and I think I'm still a bit in denial. And I just want to say that you're not leaving us, and I wish you the best of luck on your new exciting adventure. You're going to do amazing. You are amazing in everything that you do, and the town has been very blessed to have you, as our finance manager or finance CFO for the last several years. And, just working with you has been a blessing. And I know that we've had a lot of fun together and things like that. And you're not going too far. You're still going to be here. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everything that you've done. And congratulations. What an opportunity for you. And we're still going to see you here. So thank you. No tears. Right. And then, so that wraps up our reports for this morning. Is there a member of council who would like to make a motion to accept this information, please? Councillor Brooks?
I move to accept the councillor reports for information.
Thank you very much for that. I'll call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. And does council have any roundtable discussions under 11.1 this morning? I don't think we've had anything come in, right? We haven't kind of talked about. Councillor Clark, do you have anything?
And we've had a couple people reach out, one regarding the snow dump. I wonder if we should follow up with that individual?
Sure, we could forward that to Ms. Stone.
Yeah.
I think, we have been in correspondence with the individual, so it's just, I guess, yeah,
Just to keep that moving.
and Ms. Terry maybe too.
Yeah. And yeah, so we can, certainly forward that. Other than that, that's
That's it?
all I have.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for that. So if there's nothing else, we do have no information items, but we do have under 13 a correspondence received. That was for the FCM grant funding. That was on behalf of the Green Municipal Fund. It is confirmation that we've been approved for the grant amount of $131,530. I believe this was for the tree grant, and this would be Miss Terry. She's probably online and listening, but I believe that this one was for that. So it's always good news when we apply for something and we are successful in that. But other than that, okay. Other than that, correspondence received, this isn't under information. So do we need a motion for this then? It's a little bit different here, I'm noticing just that right now. Yeah.
I'm not supposed to publicly announce it yet, so I think it's okay.
Oh, we're not supposed to?
No.
Oh, okay, so we'll just say that we didn't say that, and we're going to forget all of that. Wow, I didn't see that one, okay. I read it, but I didn't read it. Okay, so let's just forget that 13.1 existed, and we'll move in to close. So I will need a member of council to move us into closed under 14.1, which is 29.1. Councillor Bowen?
Yep. I will move that council moved into closed session regarding, or as per ATIA, section 29.1. Oh, yes, at 11:17 a.m.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, welcome back. It is 4:59 p.m. We've just moved out of closed, and with that, we do have one motion coming out of closed. Is there a member of council that would like to make the motion? Councillor Clark?
Yes, I will make the motion to accept the resignation of Jocelyn Whaley as CAO.
Thank you very much for the motion. Any comment, question, debate on the motion? Then I'll now call the motion. All in favor? That is carried, and we will adjourn the meeting at 5 p.m. sharp.